World Snake Day to enlighten us more about snakes and to answer all our questions, unanswered questions for so many years and for us so many decades, because we have always, things have been instilled in our mind as to how scary snakes are, and there are so many superstitions around snakes. So let's quickly get down to some questioning.
Yeah, sure. Well, first I would like to say hello to everybody. I hope you are all staying safe in this difficult time right now. And I'm glad I can spend a little bit of time with all of you today. So I did want to just tell you, begin with a few things, a few simple things about snakes. So there's many different types of snakes, and there's about 3,000 different species of snakes, and they can be found in most parts of the world, but not in very cold places, because unlike humans and other mammals that generate their own heat, snakes don't really generate their own heat, so they can't live in places that are very cold. So there's about 3,000 species of snakes. Only about 600 are venomous. That's because a lot of people think all snakes are venomous and all snakes are dangerous, and that's not true. Only about 600 different species are venomous, and of those, only about half of those are venomous enough to be dangerous to humans. So now, of course, you all live in a country that has quite a lot of snakes, and also, as I'm sure all of you know, has pretty venomous and pretty dangerous snakes. But one of the, and so of course, snakes are, some of the species of snakes in India can be very dangerous, and so you shouldn't handle them. But the other thing I would point out is that even though some of those snakes can be dangerous, those snakes that are dangerous to humans in India, most of them don't want to have anything to do with humans, right? They're not interested in trying to eat you, right? So every once in a while there's a tiger who starts to eat humans, and that's, the tiger's looking for humans to eat. Most tigers don't want anything to do with humans either, but there are sometimes tigers that get a taste for humans. There are no cobras that have a taste for human. There are no kraits that have a taste for humans. They can bite you if they're surprised or they're scared. Right? If they're feeling threatened, then they will bite to defend. So that's one of the things I wanted to say. You should. So most snakes, if you leave them alone, they will leave you alone. And I know in India, it can be dangerous. Sometimes you get a dangerous snake in your house. But I also know in India that there are people you can call that will come and remove the snakes from your house. And I've been able to meet a few of these people that do that job, and they have some fun stories to tell.
Is there any snake called flying snake that
there is? Yes, in India.
They'll sit on the branch and glide through the air, and
that's right. They can't. Yeah, they can't fly, but what they can do is they flatten their body as much as they can, and then they wave it, just like you see a snake going in a S shape on the ground. They do that in the air, and by flattening their body, they can create enough lift that they can glide down. And so yes, they can glide quite far. So they climb up high in the trees, and then they can glide down to another tree. And that's I came to India a few months ago, and I got to see Prakriti, but I also went to the Western Ghats. And one of the things I was really hoping to see was that flying snake, but unfortunately, I didn't get to see it that time. So maybe I will be able to come another time.
Is there a snake called emerald tree boa?
Yes, the emerald tree boa is a very beautiful green snake. That's right.
It can blend in the surroundings of trees.
Yes, and I'll tell you another very sort of fun thing about the emerald tree boa. My friend used to have an emerald tree boa as a pet, and so there's another snake called a green tree python that lives in a different part of the world that looks very, very similar to the emerald tree boa. And that's an example of what we call convergent evolution, where different snakes, so the way to think about it is different snake species living in different parts of the world, but in similar types of environments. And natural selection has made these snakes evolve to look in a similar way, because it is good, as you said, to have that color to blend in, so that emerald tree boa can sit very, it's quite a large snake, but it can sit on a branch and wait, and it's very difficult to see. And that kind of snake just sits and waits, and it likes to eat birds or small mammals like rats and mice and things like that. I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Squirrels?
Quails, yes.
Okay. So
Spiders?
okay.
It's okay, I think.
Yes.
I didn't hear that one.
Spiders. She said spiders.
Spider. No, they would. Those snakes wouldn't be eating spiders. They're too big. They want something bigger than a spider. I see someone with his hand up.
Yes. Raghav, unmute yourself and ask the question.
Why do snakes like meat? Why do snakes like non-veg? Like they eat mice.
Yeah, that's right. There are no snakes that are vegetarian, and they have just they have evolved to eat other animals. Their whole digestive system is set up to eat other animals, and if you fed them only vegetables, they would die, because their body can't take the nutrition out of plants. So that, you know, the same is true of a tiger, right? A tiger, you don't see a tiger eating peas and potatoes and vegetables. So different animals have evolved different strategies to live in the world. So not just all organisms have, right? So the plants don't eat anything, right? The plants convert the sunlight and carbon dioxide, use the energy of the sunlight and combine it with carbon dioxide to make the resources they need. Then there's other animals, many kinds of insects, as well as things like deer and cow and goats, that they eat the plants. And then there's other animals that the way they make their living is they eat those animals. And snakes are one of those. They make their living in the world by finding other animals to eat.
Okay, who else wants to ask a question?
Shagun, I think.
Thank you.
One second. Shagun, one second. Ayush is also raising his hand. Yes, Ayush, ask.
Wait, so snakes would play a crucial part in the food chain due to this, right? As snakes eat smaller animals eat the plants, and the smaller animals are eaten by the snakes. So snakes would play a very crucial part in this food chain, right?
Yes, they do, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, you wouldn't want to get rid of all the snakes in India, because you would have a big problem with mice and rats, and humans are much more likely to catch diseases from mice and rats than they are to
Get bitten.
get injured by a snake, and they won't catch a disease from a snake.
Okay.
It was very
Anya,
insightful.
do you want to ask a question, Anya? Okay, no. Ashu, Atharv, Yatharth want to ask. Okay, Atharv, Yatharth, yes.
If a big snake like Anaconda gets back of you, how to get rid of that?
Well, I don't know about that. I do know I was very lucky. I got to go a couple of years ago to the Amazon rainforest. Have you heard of the Amazon rainforest? You know about that?
Yes.
I have a book about it.
Yeah, well, if you might find in that book that the Amazon rainforest is where the anaconda lives. And I was hoping that we would get to see an anaconda. I didn't get to see an anaconda on that trip. So I think, you know, for an adult, it's very unlikely that you would be attacked by an anaconda. Now, for a small person like you, an anaconda would be quite a large anaconda would be a danger. If you get, you know, usually, if a person gets attacked by an anaconda, as long as there's another person there, then you will be fine, right? Because the anaconda is a snake that would eat a human, at least a small human, and it does it by they strangle. They're what we call a constrictor. So also like the emerald tree boa that we were talking about earlier is also a constrictor. And the way that they kill is you remember a snake's whole body is muscle. If you ever hold a snake, especially a larger one, you know, bigger than the one that I'm holding in my background picture, and you feel it squeeze you, you will realize how strong a snake is. They're very strong because their whole body is muscle. And so an anaconda or any other constrictor will kill by wrapping it around you and then squeezing. And basically what happens is anytime you breathe out and then go to breathe in again, it tightens a little bit more, so that, and then you can't keep breathing in and out. It just keeps, every time it just squeezes a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and you can't breathe. So yes, the anaconda will bite you, but the bite's not what's going to kill you. What's going to kill you is it will eventually crush you so that you can't breathe. So as long as there's somebody else there that can help unwind the anaconda from you, then you will be okay. But I would recommend don't get bit by an anaconda.
Okay, Arul has a question now. Yes, Arul.
Can a big snake like an anaconda, not a big snake, an anaconda live out of the Amazon rainforest?
Well, so the anaconda is very big, as you know, it can get very large. A snake that big really needs to be spend much of its time in water or around water. Because it's so big, it's hard for it to move well on land. So that kind of snake needs to be around water. Now in in India, you also you have something called a reticulated python, which is also a very big constrictor. I'm just making, and that that can also be dangerous to people, especially smaller people. And that snake, the big those, when they get very big, they tend to stay in water too. The smaller ones you'll often find up in trees.
Okay, I think my Tauji also has a question. He's raising his hands. So yes.
He's
Hello,
muted.
Chacha.
Tauji, you need to unmute.
As you said, the snakes are normally carnivorous. But in India, we worship the snake and we offer milk to them. Do they take milk, really?
That's a good question. I do not think so.
Is it harmful to them? Because I read somewhere that, you know, snakes die after drinking that milk. So I don't know, like, is it true or not true? Because
Well, they can't digest milk.
okay.
So if they were, if you were to give them only milk instead of water, then that would kill them. But I suspect, you know, the snakes are probably happy to come around the milk, because I suspect probably there are things like mice and rats that also come for a little drink of that milk, and then the snakes are happy to have feast on the mice and rats that come.
One more question.
Yes. One.
The snakes other friends and they start eating it together?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
I'm saying that did the snakes call its friends and have a nice feast on the rat or mice?
Well, I don't think snakes have a good way to call their friends. Although what they can do is they produce a smell, and the main context in which they produce the smell is females will produce a smell when they are ready to mate. And some other snakes also produce a smell, but for a very different reason. In fact, maybe I think I can show you here. So this snake here, this is a very common snake in Canada, and this snake produces a very stinky smell, and it uses that as a defense against predators. So when I catch this snake, if it's feeling scared that I might eat it, then it will release a white fluid that is very smelly, and you have to wash your hands a lot of times afterwards to get that smell off. And even then, it still usually stays. You can still smell it for a few hours later.
Okay, we have only 5 minutes of Dr. Aneil with us now. Time flies. Yes. So I'll just ask somebody who has not asked question. Anya, do you want to ask a question? Or anybody else wants to ask a question? Or else
Anya has a question.
Yes.
Could snakes eat other snakes?
Okay.
Great question. Yes, there are some snakes that really like to eat other snakes. And you want to know there's one snake that I'm sure you've all heard of, and that you're probably very afraid of. But it's one of its favorite things to eat is, in fact, other snakes. And that is the King Cobra. King Cobra king cobra is a snake specialist. It really likes to eat other snakes. When I was visiting the Western Ghats, I was hoping to see a king cobra, but I didn't get to see one. But the person I was with, he had seen many king cobras. And what I did get to see, I'm going to show you actually. I got to see this this snake here. Let me show you. This snake. Whoops. Which is a beautiful snake. This is another.
I'm not able to make out, sir.
It's see that head is there.
Can you see the snake here?
It's twirled up. See.
It's twirled.
Oh yeah, it's just blended.
Oh yeah.
This is a poisonous snake, but the king cobra eats this snake. And the person I was with in the Western Ghats, he told me he had found a king cobra, and he hadn't found it. He was doing the job of removing the king cobra from somebody's house in a village in the Western Ghats. And there's in the process, sometimes the snake will get when it's captured, will get scared, and it will start to throw up the things that are in its belly. And he said it threw up 70 snakes of this type that I'm showing you here, which is itself a poisonous snake. It's not a deadly poisonous snake, but it is a poisonous snake. And if you were to get bit by this snake, it would be quite painful. But the king cobra, yes, likes to eat other snakes, and it can eat a lot of them.
Okay, so we have Arul and Atharv and Yatharv.
They're still there, huh?
So
Okay.
what you can do is you can type your questions and we'll send it to Dr. Aneil, and we will request him to send us the answers because he is running short of time. So yeah, I think the last question, Nandita, you can ask him.
Yes. So just one small thing, since we are all so scared and averse to snakes, if by chance we spot a snake, what do you think should be the best reaction? Is there any way to gauge if the snake is venomous, or
There's not an easy way, and certainly when I'm in India, there's too many poisonous snakes, and I am not an expert enough in the snakes. I would never touch a snake myself unless I'm with someone who really knows about the snakes and can assure me, oh yeah, this one is safe. So you have to. So I would never touch a snake, but you also don't need to. The snake isn't going to come chasing after you, trying to eat you. But you can, if it's you can call the people who know how to remove the snakes. You might be able to, if you can safely, if you find it, maybe you can safely just broom it out of your house or something like that. But don't do anything where there's any risk of you getting bit, because there are dangerous snakes in India, and you don't want to make a mistake on the wrong kind.
Right. So just don't meddle and try to be as safe as possible till we get hold of the people who can actually help us. That's what I think Dr. Aneil is trying to tell us.
Yes.
What if
yes.
What if the parents is not there and only one maid and one child is there who doesn't know how to get safe of the snake?
You call your neighbor, auntie.
What if
you don't have to worry. We're all stuck at home inside. There's always someone home.
So I have one question.
Okay, last question, then I have to go.
Last.
Okay. Shagun, I would ask you to write the question, okay, or I will take it up later and I will send it to Dr. Aneil, okay, because he's actually short of time.
I just want to send it on WhatsApp.
Sure. So Dr. Aneil, I would request you to please do answer their queries over the weekend, and we will share with all of them the answers that you have sent. And I have got
Okay.
2 more questions from Atharv and Yatharth and Arul, and I have taken a note of it. Thank you so much for coming at such a short notice. And I had just called him yesterday, and he was so sweet to agree and, you know, come to answer all your queries. I hope you all had fun. Let's say thank you to Dr. Aneil.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anil. It was a pleasure.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You all please don't leave the meeting. You all please don't leave the meeting because we have a fun snake quiz coming up.
That's so much
Yes.
fun.
Okay, so I would want everybody to switch on their videos. Rasna,
I have done it.
Rasna, Sapna, there's somebody. Yes, Rasna. Why did you switch off your video, Rasna?
I'm gonna leave now.
Why?
Bye.
Are you scared, Rasna?
No,
Then?
Okay, come on, quick.
it's hurting a bit.
Okay, no problem, Rasna. Okay, I will just share my screen. Just a minute.
Next, there is a quiz. Indoor quiz nadakkurathu about snake.
Okay. Okay, so the first question for all of you. Come on, come on. Quickly shout out the answer. I'm going to read the question for my little ones. What characteristics do all snakes share? Carnivores, cold-blooded, or both? All of you answer the question. It's fine.
Both.
Both.
Yes, they are carnivores as well as
Both.
Yes, yes, that's correct. They are carnivores as well as they are cold-blooded. Very nice. Okay, the next question. How do snakes hear? With small, tiny ears? Through their ears? Through their tail? Sorry, there is a typo here. Through their skin.
No. With small ears.
No.
Through their skin.
Yes,
Through
through
skin.
their skin.
Feel the vibrations of the
Don't have
skin.
ears.
Yes, they sense the movement of the
Vibrations.
earth, of the ground, the vibrations, and they absorb it through their skin. Okay, the next question.
Some of the amphibians also breathe with their skin.
Yes, that's correct, Dave.
Very true.
What don't snakes see? That's a weird.
Both.
No, they can sense light. They can see the light. It's
Oh, is
only
it?
color. Only color.
Color.
And depending on the way they hunt, their eyes are different. You know, some of the snakes have very thin slits, and those are the ones who hunt in the night. And some of the snakes have big eyes with big pupils, big round black balls. They hunt during the day. Okay, so yes, now let's see. How does a snake smell?
Through his tongue.
Nose,
Tongue.
and both.
Tongue.
What is the answer?
Tongue.
Well, actually, they smell through both, through their tongue also and through their nose. That is why they keep flicking their tongue. Yes.
Some of the snakes have very good sense of smell.
Yes, and when they are flicking their tongue, they are actually smelling their dinner, whether there is some dinner near them to eat, to gobble up. Next one.
Split into two.
Yes, snakes have very similar internal organs compared to humans. Snakes, however, lack the following. What do they lack? Intestines, diaphragm, or lungs? What?
What is a diaphragm?
Diaphragm is the thing that is below the lungs, which stretches and contracts, which allows the lungs to air. Yes, Ayush.
Yes, Ayush.
I think they lack intestines.
Well, if they would have lacked intestines, then how would they have digested?
Oh, then it's diaphragm.
Yes, it is diaphragm.
Oh.
Yes. Wow. Okay, the next one. How long does it take for a snake to shed its skin? Do you know that snakes shed their skin?
They will rub on the rock and all the. Yeah, and then the skin is going to run away. The old skin
Yes, the
and the
skin
new
comes out.
skin is pop.
Yes, and the
Comes out.
process of
About a
shedding.
day.
Yes, the process of shedding their skin is called molting. What is the answer? Everybody guess.
Molting. About a day.
About a day.
A day.
Everybody about a
About
day? Nobody else
No.
giving
No,
any
I don't
answer?
care.
Couple of weeks.
About
Couple of
a couple
weeks.
I think it's
Yes,
a couple
it
of
is-
weeks.
it is
It's a couple of weeks.
It actually takes 14 days for a snake to remove its skin. Imagine if you have to take your clothes off and you take 14 days to remove your clothes. It must be so tiring, right? They are actually shedding their skin. And do you know one more interesting fact? Snakes look slimy, but if you touch their skin, will it be wet or will it be dry?
Dry.
Yes.
Right. It'll have a rough texture.
Yes. So why do they look shiny and slimy?
Because of
Because
the
they are moist.
No, they are not moist.
the scales.
No.
Because it always sits in water.
No, Shagun, there are many land snakes.
The new skin.
Because
think
they are covered with
because
this
of the new
skin. They are covered with a transparent skin which looks very shiny and slimy. The skin that they shed every time, it's transparent, you know.
So cool. That's a
Yes. Okay. Now next question. Where does the anaconda primarily live? On land, in water,
In
or
water.
In water.
Your father also covered that. Yes. Yathar, switch on your video, please, beta. Okay. All snakes lay eggs. True or false?
All snakes lay eggs.
Is it true?
true, right?
No.
True. I think true.
I read somewhere.
No. There are some.
False.
Yes, it's false. There are some snakes who give directly birth to
Baby snake.
5 snakes. Baby
I
snakes.
read it.
Yes. You all need to Google after our session and find out.
Okay. I read
Okay,
it.
yes. And the last one, I just wanted to show you these snake movements. You know, there are these types of snake movement. These are the different ways in which snakes move. One is the S shape, which is the serpentine move. One is the concertina move, in which it pulls,
Wiggles.
it grabs the scales under its head, it grabs the ground with that, and it pulls a tail towards it, and then it keeps on doing the same thing again and again. And then there is the inchworm move, that is the caterpillar move. The inchworm, it will move like a caterpillar.
Ma'am, can you show that screen for 1 second? I want to take a screenshot of it.
Yes, please. Yes. Okay. Yes. So out of these movements, can you tell me which will be the slowest movement? Just see the way the snake is moving and just guess.
I think it's the caterpillar.
Okay. Shagun is saying caterpillar. What about others?
Concertina.
Okay. Ayush is saying
Concertina.
Concertina.
okay, well, actually, Shagun is correct. It is the caterpillar movement because it has to, you know, every time it has to lift.
Even caterpillars are slow.